President Lim Hyun-woo stood at the observation deck of Earth's primary orbital station, looking out at the stars his people had protected for so long. Behind him, Admiral Kang and his team waited in the conference room that would host the most important diplomatic meeting in galactic history. "Before we begin," President Lim said as he joined them at the conference table, "I want you to understand the weight of the decision we're about to make. For 2 centuries, humanity has remained hidden by choice. What we discuss today will determine whether that era comes to an end." Dr. Rogina, Earth's leading expert in interspecies communication, activated a holographic display that showed the current state of the galaxy. Hundreds of civilizations were represented by different colored indicators, with the Empire's territory highlighted in blue. "The galaxy has been stable for so long that most species have forgotten what real threats look like," Dr. Rowe explained. "But humanity remembers. We've seen what happens when aggressive civilizations develop advanced technology. We've witnessed the birth of artificial intelligences that view organic life as obsolete. We've encountered beings from other dimensions who see our reality as territory to be conquered." Admiral Kang studied the display. "And you've been fighting all of these threats alone?" "Not fighting," President Lim corrected. "Preventing. There's an important difference. Fighting implies that the threat has already materialized and begun causing damage. Prevention means the threat never gets that chance." General Yang Seung-ho joined the meeting, carrying data crystals that contained information the Empire had never seen. "Admiral, your investigation began because you detected the elimination of the Vorthak fleet. But that was just one small part of a much larger operation." She inserted one of the crystals into the conference room's display system. The hologram expanded to show a detailed timeline of threats that had been neutralized over the past year, alone. The Vorthak were spreading a bioweapon that would have rendered every inhabited world uninhabitable within 5 years, Yang explained. But they were also being supplied by a coalition of 12 other aggressive species who planned to move into the empty worlds once the bioweapon had done its work. New indicators appeared on the display, showing the locations where each of the 12 supplier species had been quietly eliminated before they could pose a direct threat. "You eliminated 13 different fleets?" Commander Hanul asked in amazement. "In coordinated strikes across 17 different star systems," Yang confirmed. "The entire operation took 6 hours and 43 minutes. None of the hostile species had time to warn the others or escape to spread their bioweapon elsewhere." Dr. Kim shook his head in disbelief. "The level of coordination required for something like that is beyond anything the Empire has ever attempted. Which brings us to why you're here," President Lim said. "The threats we face are growing more sophisticated. The next generation of galactic dangers will require resources and capabilities beyond what humanity can provide alone." Captain Lee looked puzzled. "But your technology is centuries ahead of anything the Empire has. What could you possibly need from us?" Dr. Rowe smiled at the question. "Admiral, may I ask you something? In your investigation of the Vorthak incident, how many Empire personnel were involved?" Kang thought about it. "Including support staff and analysts, probably about 300 people. And if you had to coordinate a response to threats across the entire galaxy simultaneously, how many people would you need?" The number was staggering when Kang really considered it. Tens of millions at least. "Humanity's total population is 8 billion, President Lim said quietly. "We're protecting a galaxy that contains over 2 trillion sentient beings across thousands of civilizations. We're vastly outnumbered, and the threats are becoming more complex every year." General Yang activated another display showing current monitoring operations. "We currently maintain surveillance on 47 developing threats that could become extinction-level dangers within the next decade. Each one requires constant monitoring, analysis, and preparation for intervention. We're reaching the limits of what we can accomplish with our current resources." "You want the Empire to help," Admiral Kang realized. "We want the galaxy to help," President Lim corrected. "But the Empire is the largest and most stable civilization in known space. If we're going to reveal ourselves and request assistance, the Empire is the logical place to start." Dr. Rowe brought up a new set of displays showing Earth's proposed integration with galactic civilization. "We've developed a plan that would allow humanity to maintain our protective role while becoming part of the greater galactic community. But it would require significant changes to how the Empire views galactic security." "What kind of changes?" Kang asked. Currently, the Empire responds to threats after they've been identified and assessed, Yang explained. Our model is based on prevention and early intervention. We would need the Empire to accept that sometimes, aggressive civilizations must be stopped before they attack innocent worlds. Lieutenant Shin looked uncomfortable. That sounds like attacking people who haven't actually committed crimes yet. The Vorthak fleet was heading toward 3 colony worlds with a bioweapon that would have killed 40 million people. Colonel Bayek said quietly, "At what point does prevention become necessary? After they enter the star system? After they deploy the weapon? After the first million people are dead?" The room fell silent as everyone considered the moral complexity of the situation. President Lim leaned forward in his chair. "This is the burden humanity has carried for 2 centuries. We've had to make decisions about which developing threats to eliminate and which to monitor. We've had to choose between maintaining galactic peace and maintaining our own innocence. And you want to share that burden," Dr. Park said. "We need to share it," President Lim replied. "The galaxy is becoming more dangerous, not less. Artificial intelligences are becoming more sophisticated. Bioweapons are becoming more deadly. Dimensional technology is allowing threats from other realities to find our space. Humanity alone can't protect everyone forever." Admiral Kang stood and walked to the observation window, looking out at the orbital platforms where human ships prepared for missions the Empire would never know about. The weight of what he had learned pressed down on him like a physical force. "If we agree to this alliance," he said without turning around, "what happens to Earth's independence? We maintain our autonomy completely," President Lim assured him. "We're not asking to join the Empire. We're asking for a partnership between equals. The Empire provides personnel and resources for monitoring and analysis. Humanity provides advanced technology and intervention capabilities. And if the Empire refuses, then we continue as we have for 2 centuries, General Yang said simply. Hidden, overworked, and hoping we can prevent the next galactic catastrophe before it spreads beyond our ability to contain it. Kang turned back to face the room. "I need to return to Empire space and present this to the High Command. But I can already tell you that some of them won't accept the idea of preemptive action against potential threats." "We understand," President Lim said. "Change is difficult, especially when it challenges fundamental beliefs about how galactic civilization should operate." Dr. Rowe handed Kang a data crystal. "This contains detailed information about 12 current threats that we're monitoring. If the Empire chooses to take no action, we'll handle them as we always have. But if your leaders want to see the kind of dangers we're preventing, the evidence is all there." "There's something else you should know," Yang added. 3 days ago, we detected signs of a new threat that's beyond anything we've encountered before. A collective intelligence from another galaxy that's sending scout probes into our space. Based on our analysis, they view organic life as a resource to be harvested." "How long before they arrive in force?" Kang asked. "Our best estimate is 18 months, maybe less." The room fell silent again as everyone contemplated the implications. "Admiral," President Lim said finally, "humanity has protected the galaxy for 2 centuries without recognition or thanks. We've done it because it was the right thing to do. But this new threat is beyond what we can handle alone. The galaxy needs to choose, work together to face what's coming, or face it divided and likely lose everything." As Admiral Kang prepared to return to Empire space with news that would shake galactic civilization to its foundations, he realized that humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy wasn't their advanced technology or their protective instincts. It was their willingness to make difficult choices and shoulder impossible burdens so that others could live in peace. The question now was whether the rest of the galaxy was ready to share that responsibility, or whether humanity would continue to stand guard alone against the darkness between the stars. Admiral Cho Min-sik led the Empire delegation through corridors that defied physics, past rooms where humans worked with technology that seemed more like controlled magic than engineering. Dr. An Ye-jin walked beside Admiral Kang, patiently answering questions that revealed just how far behind the Empire was in understanding the universe. "The dimensional phase technology you asked about," Dr. An explained as they passed a laboratory where technicians were working inside what appeared to be solid walls, "allows our ships to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. When the Vorthak tried to attack our vessels, they were shooting at targets that were only partially in their reality." Dr. Kim stared through the transparent wall at the technicians. "That should be impossible." The energy requirements alone would exceed the output of most stars. Only if you're thinking in terms of traditional physics, An replied with a patient smile. We've learned to borrow energy from parallel dimensions and return it after use. The universe has infinite resources if you know how to access them properly. They entered a vast command center, where hundreds of humans monitored displays showing every corner of the galaxy. Real-time information flowed across screens showing fleet movements, planetary conditions, and threat assessments for thousands of star systems. Colonel Baek Soo-jin gestured toward the displays. This is how we've been able to respond so quickly to emerging threats. We monitor everything. Every ship movement, every energy signature, every communication that might indicate danger to innocent worlds. Commander Han-Yul studied the information flowing across the screens. You're watching the entire galaxy simultaneously? We have to, Beck replied. Threats like the Vorthak don't announce themselves. They develop in secret, spread quietly, and by the time most civilizations detect them, it's too late for conventional responses. A young human technician approached their group. Colonel Beck, we're tracking a new situation in Sector 12. The hegemony fleet is moving toward the Altair colonies with bioweapons. Beck nodded. Standard intervention protocol. Dispatch Shadow Squadron 3 for immediate neutralization. Admiral Kang watched in amazement as the technician's fingers moved across a control surface, and within seconds, display screens showed human ships appearing out of nowhere near the hegemony fleet. The hostile ships simply ceased to exist, leaving only the faintest trace of scattered molecules. You just eliminated an entire fleet in under 30 seconds, Kang said in disbelief. The Altair colonies have over 40 million inhabitants, Beck explained matter-of-factly. The hegemony's bioweapons would have killed them all within hours. Sometimes immediate action is the only action that matters. Dr. Park was studying the tactical displays with growing amazement. How many interventions do you perform in a typical year? Last year, we prevented 87 extinction-level events, 412 major conflicts that would have resulted in planetary genocide, and over 2,000 smaller incidents that could have escalated, Beck replied. Most of them never show up in Empire records because we stop them before they become visible to your sensors. They move to another section of the command center where Dr. On's team was demonstrating the quantum manipulation technology that made Earth's weapons possible. A technician held up a piece of standard metal, then touched it with a device no larger than a pen. The metal transformed into a complex crystalline structure that pulsed with its own internal light. Matter is just energy in a stable pattern, Dr. On explained. Once you understand how to rewrite those patterns, you can transform anything into anything else. Our weapons don't destroy enemy ships. They convert them into harmless elements and scatter them across space. Dr. Kim reached out to touch the transformed crystal, then pulled his hand back in shock. It's generating energy. You've turned simple metal into a power source. A very basic application, On agreed. Our ships use the same technology to convert space dust into fuel, building materials, or whatever else we need. Scarcity is a concept that becomes meaningless once you can manipulate matter at the quantum level. Captain Lee had been quietly observing the efficiency of the human operations. Your response time to the hegemony threat was incredible. How do you coordinate interventions across such vast distances? A new voice answered from behind them. We've learned to think on a galactic scale. They turned to see a woman in an elegant uniform approaching. Her bearing suggested high authority, and the respectful way the other humans greeted her confirmed it. Admiral Kang, she said with a formal bow. I am General Yang Seung-ho, Earth's Minister of Galactic Affairs. I apologize for the delay in meeting you, but I was coordinating responses to 3 separate crisis situations. 3 situations? Han-Yul asked. The hegemony fleet you just saw eliminated. A rogue AI that was attempting to infiltrate the core world's communication networks, and a group of pirates who had developed planet-killing weapons, all resolved in the past hour. Yang led them to a private conference room where the walls displayed a 3-dimensional map of the entire galaxy. Thousands of small indicators showed the locations of human monitoring posts, response fleets, and intervention assets. For the past 2 centuries, Yang explained, humanity has maintained this network of protection across the galaxy. We have learned that threats to galactic civilization tend to develop in patterns. Aggressive species follow predictable expansion routes. Technological dangers emerge from specific types of research. Bioweapons spread along established trade routes. And you stop all of them? Kang asked. We try to, Yang replied simply. It's what we do. Dr. Park leaned forward in her chair. But why? Why take on this responsibility? The Empire has its own military forces, its own defense systems. Yang's expression became serious. Admiral, in the past 50 years, how many extinction-level threats has the Empire successfully stopped? Kang thought about it. I'm not sure. Our forces have won many victories against hostile species. The answer is 0, Yang said quietly. Every threat that could have ended galactic civilization has been eliminated by human intervention, before the Empire even knew it existed. The Vorthak were just the first time our activities became visible to your sensors. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. The Empire, with all its military might and advanced technology, had been protected by hidden guardians for centuries without ever knowing it. Your species has a remarkable capacity for growth and learning, Yang continued. But you also have a tendency to react to threats rather than prevent them. By the time the Empire's forces are mobilized against an extinction-level danger, billions of innocent beings have usually already died. Lieutenant Shin spoke up. So you decided to protect us whether we knew it or not. Humanity has always had a strong protective instinct, General Yang replied. When we developed the technology to act on that instinct on a galactic scale, the choice seemed obvious. We could reveal ourselves and become just another member of the galactic community, competing for resources and territory. Or we could remain hidden and use our abilities to ensure that galactic civilization survives and thrives. Dr. An activated a new display showing historical data. Every major threat to galactic peace over the past 2 centuries has been neutralized by human intervention. The plague wars that could have sterilized 1,000 worlds, the machine uprising that planned to convert all organic life into digital consciousness, the dimensional rift that was allowing hostile entities from other realities to invade our space. None of these events appear in Empire records, Commander Hanul observed. Because we stopped them before they could spread, Colonel Bayek said. Prevention is always more effective than cure, but it's also invisible. The galaxy has been safe for 2 centuries because of threats that never materialized. Admiral Kang sat back in his chair, overwhelmed by the scale of what he was learning. Humanity hadn't just survived their supposed extinction. They had evolved into the galaxy's secret protectors, working tirelessly to prevent disasters that no one else would ever know about. What happens now? He asked. Now that we know the truth? General Yang smiled for the first time since they had met. Now, Admiral, we have a choice to make. And for the first time in 2 centuries, humanity won't be making that choice alone. The constellation dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the hidden system, and immediately every alarm on the ship began screaming. Chief Engineer Oh Min-ho's voice crackled over the intercom from the engine room. Captain Lee, we've got problems. Something's interfering with our power systems. I can keep us running, but we're operating at 60% efficiency. Captain Lee studied the display screen in front of him. What he saw defied everything he thought he knew about space travel. The system ahead of them was clearly inhabited. He could see the energy signatures of massive space stations and hundreds of ships, but none of it appeared on their sensors. Dr. Yang. So Yang. He called to the ship's biologist. Are you getting any life sign readings? Jiang looked up from her station, her face pale with amazement. Captain, I'm detecting more life forms than I've ever seen in one system. The third planet from the star is covered with cities, and there are space habitats throughout the system. But the readings are impossible. Impossible how? The biosignatures suggest a single species with a population in the billions, but they're generating energy patterns that should require advanced technology. Yet they're clearly organic beings, not machines. Admiral Kang joined them on the bridge, followed by Dr. Park and the rest of the investigation team. Through the main viewing window, they could see the yellow star that officially didn't exist, surrounded by planets that had been hidden from galactic civilization for centuries. Pilot Nam Ji-hoon, Captain Lee ordered, take us closer to the third planet. Slow and steady. Nam's hands moved nervously over the flight controls. Sir, I'm getting readings that suggest the entire system is protected by some kind of defense network. But it's not stopping us. It's like it's just watching. As they approached the planet, details became clearer. The world was beautiful, covered in blue oceans and green continents. Cities sparkled on the night side, connected by transportation networks that seemed to glow with their own light. In orbit around the planet were structures that dwarfed anything the Empire had ever built. My God, Dr. Park whispered. Look at the size of those orbital platforms. Each one is larger than our biggest space stations. Lieutenant Shin's communication board suddenly lit up with activity. Sir, I'm receiving a transmission. It's in perfect galactic standard. Put it through, Admiral Kang ordered. A calm, friendly voice filled the bridge. Greetings, Constellation. This is Earth Defense Control. We've been expecting you. Please follow the navigation beacon to docking platform 7. Welcome to Earth. The bridge fell completely silent. Earth was supposed to be a dead world, destroyed in primitive warfare thousands of years ago according to the Empire's oldest records. Yet here it was, clearly alive and more advanced than any world in the Empire. Earth? Kang said into the communicator. But Earth was destroyed millennia ago. A different voice responded, this one carrying a hint of amusement. Admiral Kang Woo-jin, we know why you're here. You're investigating the Vorthak incident and the pattern of interventions over the past 50 years. We have much to discuss, but not over open channels. Please dock at the coordinates we're transmitting. Nam looked at Captain Lee in confusion. Sir, how do they know who we are? Follow their instructions, Kang ordered. But keep all sensors active and be ready to leave quickly if necessary. As the Constellation approached the massive docking platform, the crew could see that it was just one of dozens of similar structures. Ships moved between them in organized patterns, but the designs were unlike anything in the Empire's databases. Those ships, Dr. Kim observed, studying the energy readings, they're using power sources I can't identify. The energy output is incredible, but there's no radiation signature at all. Chief Engineer O's voice came over the intercom again. Captain, whatever's affecting our power systems is getting stronger as we get closer to the planet. It's not hostile. It's like the entire system is surrounded by some kind of energy field that makes our technology less efficient. They docked without incident, and within minutes, a delegation was waiting for them in the airlock. The leader was a man in what appeared to be a military uniform, but the design was completely unfamiliar. Admiral Kang, the man said with a slight bow. I am Admiral Cho Min-sik of the Earth Defense Force. On behalf of humanity, I welcome you to our home. Kang studied the human in front of him. Humans were supposed to be extinct. Yet here was clear evidence that not only had they survived, but they had built a civilization that surpassed the Empire in every measurable way. Admiral Cho, Kang said carefully, our records indicate that Earth was destroyed in nuclear warfare over 3,000 years ago. Cho smiled. Your records are incorrect, though that mistake was intentional. We found it useful to let the galaxy believe we were gone. Dr. Park stepped forward. But why? Why hide from galactic civilization? A woman in a scientist's coat joined them. I am Dr. An Ye-jin, Earth's Minister of Scientific Affairs. The answer to your question is complex. May we offer you a tour? It will be easier to explain once you see what we've accomplished. The Earth delegation led them through corridors that seemed to bend space itself. The technology around them was so advanced that it looked almost like magic. Gravity seemed optional in some areas, while others had environmental controls that created perfect comfort without any visible systems. Your energy readings, Dr. Kim said to Dr. An, they don't match any known power source. We've learned to harness forces that most civilizations haven't discovered yet, An replied. Quantum manipulation, dimensional engineering, matter conversion at the subatomic level. What you might call impossible, we consider basic tools. They emerged onto an observation deck that overlooked the planet below. Earth was even more beautiful from this vantage point, with cities that seemed to grow organically from the landscape and transportation systems that moved without causing any environmental damage. This is why we stayed hidden, Admiral Cho explained. 3,000 years ago, humanity made a choice. We could join the galactic community and become just another member world. Or we could remain separate and use our abilities to protect everyone from threats they couldn't handle themselves. Colonel Baek Soo-jin, a woman with the bearing of a career military officer, joined the group. The Vorthak fleet you've been investigating was just the latest example. For 50 years, we've been eliminating extinction-level threats before they could spread across the galaxy. Extinction-level threats? Commander Hanul asked. The Vorthak weren't just raiders, Beck explained. They were carriers of a bioweapon that would have killed every organic being in the galaxy within a decade. The Krex Armada was controlled by an artificial intelligence that planned to convert all sentient life into digital slaves. The threats we eliminate aren't just dangerous, they're apocalyptic. Admiral Kang felt his understanding of the galaxy shifting. You've been protecting us, all of us, without anyone knowing. It seemed like the right thing to do, Cho said simply. Humanity has always had a tendency to protect others, even at cost to ourselves. When we developed the technology to actually make a difference on a galactic scale, the choice was obvious. Dr. Park was studying readings on her data pad. The energy signatures we detected at each incident site, they're coming from your weapons? Dr. Ahn nodded. We've developed tools that can disassemble matter at the quantum level and scatter it across space. It's completely clean. No radiation, no environmental damage, no suffering for those we're forced to eliminate. And you've been doing this for 50 years without anyone knowing? Lieutenant Shin asked in amazement. Colonel Bayek smiled. Longer than that, actually. We've been watching and protecting for over 2 centuries. The incidents you discovered were just the ones large enough to leave traces your sensors could detect. As the implications sank in, Admiral Kang realized they were facing a decision that would change the galaxy forever. Humanity wasn't extinct. They were the most advanced civilization in known space, and they had been secretly protecting everyone else for generations. The question now was what to do with this knowledge, and whether the Empire was ready to learn that their understanding of the galaxy had been wrong for centuries. Commander Yu Han-Nul had spent 3 days buried in classified files that hadn't been opened in decades. As the Empire's top intelligence officer, she had access to records that most people didn't even know existed. What she found made her question everything she thought she knew about galactic history. Admiral Kang, she called as he entered the secure data room aboard the Constellation. You need to see this. Kang approached her workstation, where dozens of incident reports floated in holographic displays around them. Each one showed the same pattern, hostile forces vanishing without explanation. I've found 7 other incidents like the Vorthak fleet, Han-Nul explained. The Krex armada that disappeared near the Outer Rim 15 years ago. The Savage Brotherhood pirates who vanished while attacking a trade convoy. The Zephyrian death cult that was heading toward the core worlds. 7 incidents over how long? Kang asked. 53 years. Each time the hostile forces were completely destroyed with no survivors and no witnesses. And each time the incidents were classified and forgotten. Dr. Kim Tae-hyun looked up from his quantum analysis station. The physicist had been studying the energy signatures from the Vorthak incident for days, trying to understand what kind of weapon could cause such complete destruction. The energy patterns are consistent across all incidents, he reported. Whatever technology is being used, it's been the same for over 50 years. But here's the strange part. The energy signatures don't match anything in our physics databases. Lieutenant Shin Bo-ra, the ship's communications specialist, joined the group around Han-Nul's display. Sir, I've been analyzing the communication records from each incident. In every case, there were no distress calls, no emergency signals, nothing. It's as if the attacking forces didn't even have time to realize they were under attack. Dr. Park Yoon-ji entered the room carrying an armload of data crystals. She had been working around the clock, searching through the Empire's oldest archives for any clue about who might possess such advanced technology. I found something, she announced, inserting one of the crystals into the main display system. Look at this star chart. The holographic display showed a section of the galaxy that seemed unremarkable. Dozens of star systems were mapped in detail, but there was a strange gap in the middle. I've been plotting the locations of all 8 incidents, Park explained. They seem random at first, but when you look at them in relation to this area, a pattern emerges. She highlighted each incident location on the map. Every single one formed a rough circle around the empty space in the center. What's in that area? Kang asked. According to our official star charts, nothing. Empty space. But when I cross-referenced gravitational data from our deep space sensors, there's clearly a star system there. A system that's been deliberately removed from our navigation databases. Han-Nul pulled up another set of files. I checked the historical records. This system appears in charts that are over 500 years old. But sometime around 3 centuries ago, all references to it were deleted from official records. Deleted by who? Kang demanded. That's the problem, sir. There's no record of who ordered the deletion or why. It's as if someone with very high clearance wanted this system to be forgotten. Dr. Kim studied the gravitational data. Based on the sensor readings, there's definitely a star there. Yellow class, similar to the stars around most inhabited worlds, and the gravitational patterns suggest at least 3 planets in stable orbits. Captain Lee had been listening quietly from the doorway. Now he stepped forward, his expression serious. "Admiral, I've been running diagnostics on our navigation system. Every time I try to plot a course for those coordinates, the computer experiences errors. It's not random system failure. It's as if something is actively preventing us from finding that system." "Show me," Kang ordered. Lee activated the navigation console and input the coordinates for the hidden system. The display flickered, showed a course for a few seconds, then displayed an error message. "Destination not found in database." "I've tried 17 different approaches," Lee explained. "The result is always the same. Our computers refuse to acknowledge that system exists." Lieutenant Shin looked puzzled. But if someone wanted to hide a system, why would they leave gravitational traces? Why not hide it completely? Dr. Park had been thinking about the same question. Maybe they wanted to be found eventually, or maybe they knew that anyone capable of detecting gravitational anomalies would be advanced enough to approach them safely. "There's something else," Hanul said, pulling up another file. "I've been checking personnel records for anyone who might have investigated these incidents before. 3 different intelligence officers have tried to follow this pattern over the years. All 3 were reassigned to distant posts after filing preliminary reports. The implications hung heavy in the air. Someone with significant power within the Empire had been working to keep this system secret for centuries." "Admiral," Dr. Kim said quietly, "I've been analyzing the quantum signatures from all 8 incidents. The technology being used isn't just advanced, it's completely beyond our understanding of physics. Whoever is doing this has capabilities that make our most powerful weapons look like primitive tools." Kang studied the star chart, focusing on the empty space that wasn't really empty. Every instinct told him that approaching an unknown superpower was dangerous. But the alternative, letting them continue to operate in complete secrecy, was potentially worse. "Captain Lee," he said finally, "how long would it take to reach those coordinates using manual navigation?" "If we bypass the navigation computer entirely and use stellar landmarks for guidance, about 6 days. "And the risks?" "Unknown, sir. We'd be flying into space that officially doesn't exist to meet people who can destroy entire fleets in hours." Dr. Park looked up from her data analysis. "Admiral, there's something else you should consider. In every incident, the mysterious force only attacked those who were threatening innocent worlds. The Vorthak were heading toward colony planets. The Krex Armada was attacking civilian ships. The pirates were raiding peaceful trade routes." "You think they're protecting people?" Kang asked. "The evidence suggests it. For over 50 years, someone has been eliminating threats to galactic civilization. They could have attacked Empire forces many times, but they haven't. They only target those who pose a danger to innocent lives." Commander Hanul nodded. "It fits the pattern. They're not conquerors or raiders. They're guardians." Kang made his decision. "Captain Lee, prepare the ship for manual navigation. We're going to find out who's been protecting the galaxy from the shadows." "Sir," Lee said, "Empire Command hasn't authorized this mission." "Then we don't tell them until we have answers, Dr. Park. I want you to prepare a complete analysis of everything we know about this hidden civilization. Commander Hanul, gather all the classified files related to the 8 incidents. Dr. Kim, keep monitoring for any unusual energy signatures." As the team prepared for their unauthorized journey into the unknown, none of them realized they were about to make the most important discovery in galactic history. The hidden guardians had been watching them since the moment they started investigating the Vorthak incident. Soon, the Watchers would have to decide whether to reveal themselves or to ensure that the Empire's investigation team never returned to tell what they had found. Admiral Kang Woo-jin stared at the holographic display with disbelief. The data made no sense. According to every sensor in Sector 7, the Vorthak invasion fleet had simply vanished. Not destroyed in battle, not retreating through hyperspace, but completely gone as if it had never existed. "Run the scan again," he ordered the technician at the control station. The young officer's fingers danced across the control panel. "Sir, this is the 15th scan. The results are the same every time. The Vorthak fleet is gone." Kang rubbed his temples. The Vorthak had been the Empire's greatest threat for 8 months. Their black ships had destroyed 12 colony worlds and killed millions of people. The Empire's best fleets could barely slow them down, let alone stop them. Yet somehow, in the span of 6 hours, the entire invasion force had disappeared. "What about wreckage?" Kang asked. "Ships that size don't just vanish without leaving debris." "That's the strange part, sir," the technician replied. We're detecting molecular dust spread across 3 light-years. It's as if the ships were broken down into their basic atoms. Dr. Park Yunji entered the command center, her datapad clutched tightly in her hands. As the Empire's top expert on ancient civilizations, she had been called to help explain the impossible. "Admiral," she said, slightly out of breath, "I've been going through our databases all night. There's no record of any weapon or technology capable of this level of destruction." "Nothing at all?" Kang asked. "The Empire has detailed files on every known species in the galaxy. We have records of weapons, ships, and technologies from over 10,000 different civilizations. Nothing even comes close to what happened here." Captain Lee Dong-ho joined them at the display. His investigation ship, the Constellation, had just arrived in Sector 7 to begin a detailed study of the area. "My sensors are picking up some unusual energy readings," Lee reported. "Whatever did this left traces, but they're unlike anything in our databases." Kang studied the energy patterns on the screen. They seemed to pulse with a rhythm that reminded him of something, though he couldn't place what. "Dr. Park," he said, "you mentioned that no known civilization has this kind of power. But what about unknown ones?" Park frowned. "Admiral, the Empire has been exploring the galaxy for 3,000 years. We've cataloged every inhabited system, every species, every major technology. The idea of an unknown superpower is impossible," Kang finished. "So was what happened to the Vorthak fleet." The room fell silent as everyone considered the implications. If there was a civilization powerful enough to destroy the Vorthak fleet so completely, why had the Empire never encountered them before? And more importantly, were they friend or enemy? "Sir," the technician called out, "I'm getting a priority message from Empire Command." The holographic display shifted to show the stern face of High Admiral Yoon Dae-ho, the Empire's top military leader. "Admiral Kang," Yoon said, "I trust you have an explanation for the reports coming out of Sector 7. Sir, we're still investigating, but it appears the Vorthak fleet has been completely destroyed by an unknown force." Yoon's expression didn't change, but Kang could see the tension in his eyes. "Unknown force?" "Yes, sir. We have no records of any civilization with this level of destructive capability." "That's impossible, Admiral. The Empire knows every major power in the galaxy." Dr. Park stepped forward. "High Admiral, with respect, the evidence is clear. Something or someone destroyed the Vorthak fleet using technology we don't understand." Yoon was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was carefully controlled. "Admiral Kang, you and your team are to investigate this matter with absolute priority. I want answers, and I want them quickly. The Council of Worlds is already asking questions we can't answer." The transmission ended, leaving the command center in silence. "Captain Lee," Kang said, "how long before your ship can begin a detailed investigation of the area?" "We can start immediately, sir. But if we're dealing with an unknown technology, we should be prepared for anything." Dr. Park was already working on her datapad. "I'll start cross-referencing the energy signatures with our oldest archives. Maybe there's something we missed." As the team prepared for their investigation, none of them noticed the small sensor readings at the edge of their detection range. Something was watching them, had been watching the entire time. The observers had seen the Empire's ships arrive, had monitored their communications, and had listened to their confusion about the Vorthak fleet's destruction. Far away, in a place the Empire had never found, decisions were being made. The Watchers had remained hidden for centuries, protecting the galaxy from threats too dangerous for any single civilization to handle. The Vorthak had been just the latest in a long line of extinction-level dangers that had been quietly eliminated. But now the Empire was asking questions. Soon they would start looking for answers in places they had never looked before. The time of hiding might be coming to an end. Admiral Kang stood before the holographic display, studying the empty space where the Vorthak fleet had been. Somewhere out there was a civilization with the power to destroy the Empire's greatest enemy in a matter of hours. Were they looking at a future ally or a threat beyond anything they had ever faced? "Sir," the technician said quietly, "there's something else you should see." A new display appeared showing long-range sensor data from the past year. Dozens of small incidents were highlighted, each one showing the sudden disappearance of hostile ships or fleets. "How long has this been happening?" Kang asked. "According to the data, at least 50 years, but most of these incidents were classified or dismissed as sensor errors." Dr. Park looked up from her datapad, her face pale. Admiral, I think we're not dealing with a single incident. I think we're looking at a pattern of intervention by someone who's been operating in the shadows for decades. The implications hit everyone in the room at the same time. Somewhere in the galaxy was a power that had been secretly eliminating threats to galactic civilization. They had been protecting the Empire and every other peaceful world without anyone knowing they existed. The question now was simple, but terrifying. Who were they, and what did they want?